So the countdown to Budget 2022 has begun, and every industry is now waiting with bated breath to see what's in store for them this year. Talking about real estate, the sector has been facing rough weather for quite some time, I think which only got aggravated with the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, while the government did announce certain measures over the last 2 years, the sector definitely requires more support for a sustainable recovery. I'm Nikun Joshi. To discuss the budget expectations, I have leading industry experts joining me today. We have Mr. Rajan Bandelkar, President Naredco, Mr. Prashant Thakur, Senior Director and Head of Research, Anurag Group, Mr. Kamal Singhal, MD CEO, Arvind Smart Spaces, and Mr. Anurag Goyal, Director, Goyal Ganga Developments. Let's begin with you, Mr. Bandelkar. What measures do you think will go a long way in turning the fortunes of real estate sector?
Real estate has come up very well in the times of COVID. It was reeling under tremendous pressures for all the changes, whatever this government has done it. But I mean to say demonetization, then you can say RERA, then GST, and then NBFC crisis. But fortunately, what happened in COVID, everybody was talking about either stay at home, home quarantine, work from home. So home became a very, very important aspect of each and everybody's life. And I always keep on saying to a female, if anybody asks today, do you want a necklace of a diamond or a gold, or you want a home? So they will certainly choose home over the necklace, because gold is a very, very integral part for women. But now the shift has come, because home has taken over all other assets, because everybody wants shelter for their head. And thanks to Prime Minister Modi, he has instilled in every Indian's mind to have their own home. Now, talking to budget expectations, see, this government has given at least from last continuously 4-5 years, something or the other, we have got it for real estate industry. So this time, our focus from Naredco and from industry point, it is moreover on the point of consumer. Consumer because the consumer is the focus and forefront. In Corona, we all came to know that because Maharashtra government reduced the stamp duty, and we all have seen the effect, what it has made to the real estate industry, especially in Maharashtra and the rest of the country also. The same way, we have asked for Section 24, that interest deduction is there. That is only 2 lakhs, and 2 lakhs is a really, really, really bigger amount. The government has given additional 1.5 lakhs, but in that 1.5 lakhs, they have put up a cap of 45 lakhs, flat value of 45 lakhs. So, in other terms, it is giving from one hand, and from the second hand, it's that nobody can take it. It's in other real term, it's just eyewash. So we have requested the government to give for first home. If any individual is buying their first home, entire interest amount should be given as deduction. Let it be. There should not be any limit ceiling on that interest amount, because we are self-sufficient in roti and kapda, but in makan, we want to be self-sufficient. Self-sufficient means, what I mean to say, every person should have their own home. So first demand is that. Second, thanks to central government, in Corona times, they have given us Emergency Credit Guarantee Line Scheme, ECLGS, if you have seen. The effect of that scheme has become that key developers never seen lower rate of interest. Practically, I will tell you very few. I can name the developers on the fingers. They only got the loan in single digit. Otherwise, everybody was in 2 digit, and that too also in a higher numbers. So what we are requesting government to give ECLGS guarantee scheme to all affordable projects, all affordable housing projects, because today RERA is there. So because of RERA, none of the developers can misuse the fund or they can divert the fund. So once you get easy capital at low interest rate, that is going to be beneficial for the entire industry, and it will benefit even the end consumer. These are the important 2 points If the government does both these points, it would be win-win situation for entire industry as well as consumer. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Rajan. Mr. Thakur, let's hear from you. What are your expectations from the upcoming budget?
Hi, Nikunj. I think Mr. Rajan has covered most of the points, but a couple of things I would like to reiterate, and then the reason why these things are expected from budget. See, after a long time, we are seeing a harmony between demand and supply that is, evolving in the real estate, and which is good for the long-term growth of the industry. Now, what budgetary push is required to ensure that the demand remains at a very healthy level. So, number one, as rightly said, that the 2 lakhs of exemption on interest paid on home loan has been there for a quite long time. And if you look at the way inflation has gone, and in the way the quantum of loan that has gone, I think increasing that limit would definitely encourage home buyers to take home loans and then buy a property, because this is the best time to buy the property. Affordability is all-time best. Second, there has been a massive push by government towards affordable housing, and a lot of remarkable reforms have been made. But one thing I strongly feel that the ticket size definition of affordable housing has to be increased. Right now, it is capped at 45 lakhs. But if you look at cities like Mumbai, and to that matter even Bangalore or other tier 1 cities, 45 lakhs you don't get the required configuration. So in my opinion, it has to be a city-based ticket size cap. For example, in Mumbai it can be in the range of 55 lakhs to 1 CR, and in other tier 1 cities it can be in the range of 65 to 85 lakhs. So what that will do, that will stimulate the demand further. So that's what we need. The third is, how do we ensure that the supply side remains well lubricated? How does the developer is encouraged to take up the project? There has been a long pending demand of a single clearance window, and now it has become kind of an ask in every budget. But what impact it will have on the costing part? See, the developer, has to run from pillars to post to get approvals. And, most of the times these approvals that are required are very redundant. And then there are many agencies involved. And, it on an average, it takes close to 1.5 to 2 years. Just imagine the cost of the project that escalates. And ultimately that gets passed into the pricing part. And then we face the challenge of price increase. So in my opinion, that is also, should be on the priority list if we really want to keep the supply side also healthy and kind of encourage the developers to take up such projects. And I also strongly feel that the tax incentive that was provided by the government for affordable housing projects to the developer, that is expiring on 31st of March 2022, should be extended by a year. Because I feel that during this Corona times, we lost this 1.5 to 2 years, and then the benefit that could have accrued because of these incentives have gone in vain. So I think these are the basic broad framework which would really stimulate both the demand side and the supply side, and will help the recovery that we are seeing right now, which is at a very nascent stage. And I strongly feel that real estate, especially residential real estate, is at the beginning of a long-term upward cycle, and these are the reforms that we need in a timely manner.
That's great, Prashant. I think, like you said, single window clearance has been a long-standing demand. I think another long-standing demand from the fraternity is industry status. So, Mr. Singhal, I'll come to you now. I want to understand from you, how will industry status benefit the sector? And honestly, do you think 2022 is the year when the industry will be recognized the sector will be recognized as an industry?
So, great, thanks for giving me this opportunity, Nikunj. You hit the nail on the head this time when you said that industry needs industry status. It's strange to say that the industry needs industry status. It means a lot to all of us. Real estate, demand side, government has done quite a few things, including, GST coming in, giving some efficiencies, and a formalization of sector which has happened in a very big way. all these things are fine, but when it comes to the cost side, it really needs quite a few levers to be pressed at this point of time for the demand to sustain. Cost has been going up all the time. In this context, cost of funds for real estate is one of those components which is very, very important. We know that it's a very capital intensive industry, and organic growth cannot take you much ahead. One needs funds for growth, and that's where the constraints are. It's very strange that the Indian banking system is regulated in a way that funds for bridging the gaps, working capital gaps, are all there and they are available through the formal system of banking, public and otherwise. But when it comes to growth capital, there are so many constraints. One can very well understand the motive behind it or the objective behind it, which is to ensure that there is no property bubble, and it should not, the market should not be allowed to behave in a way that they come down crashing as has happened in several other markets outside India. That's very well taken, but I think they're going on one extreme to say that we will not give or will not allow growth capital to come to the sector at all from the formal banking channels for growth, I'm saying once again. So what it means is that weaker players who have problems or issues or they need working capital, they'll get the capital. But the healthy players who are otherwise well capitalized, who have good money to execute, etc., they will not have any gaps in their working capital, and hence the money is not there for growth per se. And that's where the industry status is going to be very, very helpful. This provides growth capital. All right, we can have a lot of checks and balances to ensure there is no property bubble and the funds are not misused. And one of my earlier panelists clearly said that we can have those checks and balances. There being there, the possibility of misuse and otherwise diversion, etc., is very difficult these days, and we can build in more checks and balances to ensure that such funds are not misused, so to say. But having said that, we are in dire need of growth capital, and industry status is going to be helping banks distribute that money to the deserving candidates, deserving developers, so to say.
Mr. Goyal, coming to you, what measures do you think the government should announce to rekindle housing demand? Mr. Pandilkar and Mr. Thakur has already covered a lot of measures that the government should announce to that will actually encourage fence sitters to take the plunge. But what do you think? What is your perspective?
First of all, thank you for having me on this call. And one of the major things which I feel is that, although the industry has seen a significant growth since the first lockdown, there has been a significant increase in the pricing of raw materials. For steel and cement, prices have skyrocketed in the past few months and really impacted project budgets. Talking about GST, I feel that although it has made the overall taxation process simpler, but it has significantly added to the costs. I feel that reintroducing the input tax credit benefits and reducing slabs on certain raw materials will really help optimize the project budgets and further, allow us to offer further discounts to flat owners. And also, the Housing for All scheme, which was launched in 2015, has offered really good benefits to home buyers and developers. But because of certain constraints in regards to the sizing and pricing of apartments, has not made it very efficient for everyone. I feel that this policy certainly needs to be redefined, and it needs to be redefined in a way where it should be more city and metro specific because of the difference in prices across cities. And I feel introducing a similar policy for the mid-housing segment will also benefit a lot of home buyers.
Prashant, you spoke a lot about affordable housing. Now that we're already in 2022 and the deadline to Housing for All by 2020 is fast approaching, do you think we will be able to meet the target? If not, what should we expect from the government on that front?
See, I don't think we'll be able to meet the 2022 deadline, and because of the obvious reason, not because of the inactivity of the government. It is primarily due to the construction disruption that we saw because of lockdown. But again, having said that, if you look at the progress that has been made, I think more than 60 to 65% of the objective has been met. And what government has also introduced apart from just focusing on construction of houses, they've also introduced affordable rental housing complexes, which also intends to provide affordable accommodation, rental accommodation to migratory population, which are the core target segment of affordable housing. And if you look at the genesis of affordable housing, or let's say housing for all, it is intended or aimed to cater to the very basic needs of these underprivileged, or let's say low income and mid income group population. So I think that is well on track. And I think the way the momentum has been set and the way we are seeing participation from the private developers is also encouraging. So that's what I strongly feel, that giving 1 year extension to all the incentives related to affordable housing would ensure that this delay because of Corona is brought back on track, and we meet the objective of housing for all, not in 2022, but let's say by 2024. But again, having said that, I think the objective is very, very noble. The efforts from all the agencies, including government as well as state agencies and private developers, has been very encouraging. So I think this slight delay would be covered with the momentum that we have gained.
Mr. Pandilkar, would you like to add something to that?
See, for affordable, what you are telling. First, I will tell you this PMAY and everything. We are hoping that the government will increase their time. And see, it's a dream what our Prime Minister instilled in each and every Indian in 2015 to have individual homes. And that's why he set up a target of 2022. I will tell you, as a president of NEREDCO or a real estate body, I am with government has progressed. In spite of Corona and so many difficulties, see, they have delivered on ground also homes. And if you see entire 2 and 3 cities where developer never reached, developer never constructed, their government gave the money and people have built individual homes, which is very, very important. Otherwise, probably, I don't know when they could have got their homes on their own. Second thing I am telling you, Prashant Thakur told about affordability. I little bit beg to differ on that count. I will tell you, because see, when you stay in Mumbai in a 300 square feet, or in a Gurgaon in 300 square feet, or in a Kolkata at 300 square feet, the area is same. See, the price is different. So, for any government, only in April 2019, they put up a cap of 45 lakhs rupees. So, instead of we should correct whatever mistakes government has done it, we should tell them to correct it, because before that, the affordability was at 60 square meter. And on the contrary, we all association were asking them, because our standard of living is increasing, so from 60 square meter for affordable segment, they should make it to 90 square meter. Instead of increasing the area, they have capped us with the price. So we should only request one thing: the price cap should be removed, because if the person is staying at 1 bedroom, if he stays at South Mumbai, or he stays at MMR, or he stays at NCR, the same, because the area he is going to get the same. So the price cap should be removed, and once again, that area, we should go back to the area. Third thing I am telling you on GST, even though doesn't come under budget, but GST in 1419 they have removed the ITC, which is once again against the fundamental of GST law. So what is our request is that once they can go back, and even if they don't want to go back, from 1419 for all old projects, ongoing projects, they had given us an option whether we can go into the older scheme or a new scheme, we can switch over. Today, for GSTN, developers are their consumers. Like for us, flat buyers are our consumers. The same way for GST, developers are consumers. They should give us the option whether we want to choose whichever scheme we want to choose. If they give us the option, whichever developer, whichever scheme they want, they will choose it. And it would be a win-win situation for government as well as developers, because government is not going to lose anything on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bandekar. Mr. Singhal, coming to you, are we expecting any positive developments on REITs front? We haven't really heard anything from the government on that. So, do you think we're going to have some, measures announced in this budget?
Yeah. As you said, I mean, there have been a lot of expectation that industry has been expressing on REIT side. Commercial real estate is something which is an extremely important component of growth when it comes to real estate in specific and economy in general. And the word over, we've seen quite a few reforms in REIT coming in. We have, I mean, although delayed and very few things happening around, but thing has taken off. In my understanding, the reforms will happen. Further measures will come. Whether they come at the time of budget or otherwise, we are not still sure. But of course, industry expects that to happen. And we are pretty hopeful that some of those should come through this time. Yeah.
Before we wrap up, let me quickly ask each of you your top 3 expectations from the upcoming budget. Mr. Bandelkar?
Madam, top 3 in line is that first is Section 24 interest. Second is ECLGS guarantee scheme for all affordable scheme. And third one, if you see in shares, equity, long-term capital gain is it's given within 1 year if you hold on the shares for 1 year, and the rate of interest is 10%. But in real estate, it is 2 years and 20%. So when you talk, if they can give it to the shares, why can't they give it to the real estate? So they should give it to the real estate also as capital gain, 1 year time period and 10%.
Okay. Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel that the flexibility in housing for all policy, taxation benefits, like Mr. Bandelkar said, in terms of Section 24B and long-term capital gains, and further reduction in the input GST would really help home buyers and make increase the demand for housing.
Mr. Singhal?
So on the cost side, it should be industry status, so that the credit becomes cheaper for the developer. That's my number one. Section 24, I think everybody is calling it out, so that's very, very important to increase deductions on account of interest from the second home or the let out homes. And the third thing, which is extremely important, which Mr. Rajan actually touched, the capital gains tax. I mean, 2 years and 20% is a little too high and doesn't really encourage investment significantly from consumers' point of view. If it can be reduced, so 20 can be 15 and 2 years can be 1 year, etc., etc. Any positive movement and introduction there would be really helpful. So these are my 3 picks.
My top 3 would be, again, the number 1 would be increasing the limit on reduction on home loan under Section 24. The second would be kind of, increase the definition and all the incentives that has been given to the developer and the home buyers on affordable housing should be extended by a year. So these are my top 3, expectation from the budget.
Well, the expectations are clearly high, but will these expectations turn into a reality? We'll have to wait till February 1st when the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the budget. Thank you.